Long before electricity, ancient people lived comfortably in brutal climates. They built homes that cooled themselves in desert heat and warmed effortlessly through snowy winters. This video reveals the ingenious secrets of ancient climate control, from Persia's wind-catching towers to Rome's underfloor heating. You will learn how forgotten architectural tricks can slash energy use and inspire sustainable living today. How did civilizations thrive for centuries without a single watt of power? What simple principles did they understand that we have overlooked? The answers lie in a world where buildings worked in perfect harmony with the earth. Are you ready to see how the past holds the key to our future comfort? The true genius of ancient architecture lies in a simple but profound idea. The building itself is the machine. This is the power of passive design, a system that needs no electricity, no moving parts, and no complex mechanisms to keep people comfortable. It is a conversation between a structure and its environment, a dance guided by principles so intuitive they feel almost like common sense. Ancient builders were masters of this art, turning every wall, every window, and every stone into a component of a natural climate control system. They began with the sun's path across the sky, carefully orienting their buildings to either welcome its warmth or deflect its harsh rays. They selected materials not just for their strength, but for their thermal personality. Thick adobe walls, for example, act like a giant battery for heat. They soak up the sun's energy all through the scorching day, preventing the interior from overheating. Then, as the cool desert night descends, they slowly release that stored warmth, creating a stable and comfortable indoor temperature for hours. This is the magic of thermal mass in action. The celebrated Egyptian architect Hassan Fathi passionately championed this ancient wisdom, demonstrating how these passive techniques were in perfect harmony with their local climates. They did not fight nature, they collaborated with it. Every design decision was rooted in a deep, generational observation of wind patterns, seasonal shifts, and the angle of the sun. A building was not just a shelter, it was a living, breathing entity that responded to the world around it. It is remarkable to think that a simple, sun-baked clay wall could perform the same task as a modern air conditioner or heater, all without a single watt of power. This foundational understanding of passive principles set the stage for even more spectacular and specialized innovations. Rising from the flat rooftops of ancient Persia, slender towers stood as silent sentinels against the desert sun. These were the wind catchers known as badgers, and they were nature's own air conditioning system. Their design was deceptively simple, a tall shaft open at the top, yet it harnessed the principles of physics with breathtaking elegance. The structure worked by capturing the cool, prevailing winds that blew high above the ground and funneling them downward directly into the heart of the home. But the true magic happened when that incoming air passed over a small pool of water or through an underground canal. This is where evaporation came into play. As the dry desert wind moved over the water's surface, it picked up moisture, and this process of evaporation instantly stole heat from the air, chilling it significantly. Historical records suggest these ingenious towers could drop the temperature inside by more than 10 degrees Celsius, a transformative difference in the blistering heat. The sophistication did not end there. Some badgers were crowned with multiple openings designed to catch breezes from every direction, while others featured clever internal flaps that allowed residents to control the airflow, shutting it down during dust storms. Can you fathom the sensation of that cool, gentle breeze flowing through your living space, a relief crafted not by compressors and refrigerants, but by stone, water, and wind? This was not just architecture, it was a deep, intuitive collaboration with the elements. The wind catcher stands as a powerful testament to an age where comfort was engineered through understanding, not consumption. And while Persia perfected the art of catching the wind, another ancient empire mastered the very earth beneath their feet to conquer the cold. Yet the mastery of indoor climate was not confined to cooling deserts. Far to the west, the Romans engineered their own answer to winter's chill, a system of such sophistication that its warmth can almost be felt through the centuries. Step into the cavernous hall of an ancient Roman bathhouse. The marble floors are pleasantly warm underfoot, and a gentle, radiant heat emanates from the very walls, creating a sanctuary of comfort while frost grips the world outside. This was the marvel of the Hypocaust, a revolutionary heating method that transformed daily life. At its heart was a perpetual furnace, often stoked by slaves, which generated hot air and gases. This heat was not wasted up a chimney. Instead, it was ingeniously channeled through a network of hollow spaces beneath floors raised on short brick pillars. The hot air would then snake through clay pipes embedded within the walls before finally escaping through roof vents. This created a powerful and efficient system of convection and radiant heat, warming the massive stone structures evenly from the ground up. You can still see remarkably preserved examples in places like the Roman baths in Bath, England, where the intricate brick pillars stand as a testament to this advanced engineering. Beyond mere comfort, the Hypocaust provided a profound hygienic benefit by systematically driving dampness out of buildings, keeping interiors dry and healthy. This technology allowed vast public spaces, from baths to villas, to function as vibrant social hubs all year round, setting a staggeringly high bar for thermal comfort that would not be matched for over a millennium. But what about cultures who had to contend with both extremes, the biting cold and the sweltering heat? Their solutions were perhaps the most integrated of all. In the land of the sun, where the days blaze and the nights can bring a surprising chill, Egyptian builders turned to the very earth beneath their feet. Their humble mud bricks, thick and unassuming, were in fact a masterpiece of thermal engineering. This is the principle of thermal mass in its purest form. Think of these walls not as simple barriers, but as giant, slow-charging batteries for heat. All through the scorching day, the sun would beat down, but instead of letting that intense energy pour indoors, the dense mud bricks would absorb it, greedily soaking up the heat and keeping the interior spaces remarkably cool. Then, as the desert sky darkened and the air grew cold, the process would reverse. The walls would slowly, steadily release their stored warmth back into the home, creating a stable and comfortable environment throughout the night. This was a continuous, gentle cycle of heat exchange that required no moving parts, only an intelligent understanding of material properties. To amplify this cooling effect, the Egyptians often painted their exteriors a brilliant white. This light color acted as a shield, reflecting a significant portion of the sun's radiant energy away before it could even be absorbed by the walls. It was a dual strategy of reflection and absorption, working in perfect harmony. How did they develop such an intuitive grasp of this material science? Their genius lay in deep observation and a profound reliance on local, sustainable resources. They used what was abundantly available, mud, straw, and water, to create a building system that was perfectly adapted to its environment. It was practical, it was enduring, and it demonstrates a fundamental truth. True climate control begins not with complex technology, but with smart, thoughtful choices about the very materials we build with. This ancient wisdom, born from the Nile's banks, finds a direct echo in the modern principles of passive solar design, where concrete floors and stone walls are deliberately used to perform that same heat battery function. But while the Egyptians mastered the solid earth, other cultures looked upwards to the sky and to the power of moving air for their comfort. This principle of working with the air finds one of its most elegant expressions in the heart of ancient Chinese cities. A traditional Sihaiyuan or courtyard house was far more than a family dwelling. It was a meticulously crafted ecosystem for human comfort. The entire design pivoted around a central, open-air courtyard, which functioned as the home's beating heart and its primary climate engine. As the sun warmed this central space, the hot air would naturally rise. This simple act created a powerful suction effect, pulling cooler air from the shaded rooms surrounding the courtyard and creating a constant, gentle breeze through every doorway and window. This was not a random airflow, it was a carefully orchestrated system of cross-ventilation. Windows and doors were positioned in perfect alignment to capture even the faintest whisper of a prevailing wind, guiding it on a cooling journey through the entire living space. The courtyard itself provided a deep, cooling shade for the rooms facing it, while also serving as a catchment for precious rainwater, integrating water management directly into the architectural plan. It is deeply inspiring to realize that these were not merely technical solutions. Scholars point out that this seamless integration of building and nature was a physical expression of deep philosophical beliefs, particularly the Taoist pursuit of balance and harmony with the natural world. The home was a miniature universe where the elements of sun, wind, and water were invited guests, not forces to be conquered. Can you feel the profound peace of living in a space designed for such seamless coexistence? This holistic approach to spatial planning, where every element serves multiple environmental and social purposes, offers a timeless blueprint for sustainable living. It demonstrates that true comfort emerges from a thoughtful dialogue between our shelters and the world they inhabit. Deep within the lush embrace of the Amazon rainforest, a different kind of architectural genius flourished, one shaped by torrential rains and suffocating humidity. Here, the indigenous peoples built the Maloca, a vast communal longhouse that was far more than a shelter. It was a village under one roof, a triumph of climate-responsive design. Its most striking feature was a towering, steeply pitched roof, thatched with thousands of palm leaves. This dramatic slope was a direct response to the jungle's deluges, designed to shed water with incredible speed and prevent any pooling that could lead to leaks or collapse. But the true brilliance was in the thatching itself. The leaves were not simply piled on, they were intricately woven to create a membrane that was both waterproof and breathable. This weaving allowed hot, moist air to rise and escape through the roof's peak, while the elevated floor, raised on sturdy posts, lifted the entire living space above the damp ground. This simple elevation was a masterstroke, protecting against seasonal flooding, improving ventilation from below, and keeping a multitude of insects and pests at bay. Inside, the cavernous space was carefully organized, with different family areas arranged around a central communal heart. Anthropologists note that this layout was not arbitrary. It fostered social cohesion while also managing the internal climate, as the open plan allowed air to circulate freely around cooking fires and sleeping areas, preventing the buildup of stifling humidity. Every material was sourced directly from the surrounding forest: palm wood for the frame, vines for lashing, leaves for thatch. When a Maloca reached the end of its life, it would simply return to the earth, leaving no trace. This was a perfect, living example of a circular economy, a concept we champion today, practiced for centuries in the heart of the jungle. The Maloca presents a powerful idea that comfort is not just a physical state of temperature and humidity, but a social one, rooted in community and a seamless, respectful relationship with a powerful natural world. It stands as a quiet, profound reminder that the most effective climate solutions are often not about dominating our environment, but about learning to live intelligently within it. While the Amazon used its roof as a climate tool, classical civilizations turned to another elemental force. The great aqueducts of Greece and Rome did far more than quench a city's thirst. They were the arteries of a sophisticated urban cooling system. In the bustling heart of the Roman Forum, water did not simply flow from a fountain to disappear. It was channeled through open runnels along shaded walkways and porticos where the relentless summer sun beat down. Here, the simple genius of evaporative cooling transformed public life. As the water moved, its surface area exposed to the dry Mediterranean air, molecules would leap from liquid to vapor. This phase change requires energy, and it drew that energy directly from the surrounding air as heat, dropping the local temperature in a tangible, refreshing wave. A senator strolling through the forum would feel this coolness, a welcome respite that made political debate and social commerce possible even during a heat wave. This principle was scaled down for domestic life as well. In the courtyards of wealthy villas and even in more modest homes, large porous clay jars filled with water were placed in the paths of prevailing breezes. As the air passed over the damp surface of the jars, it would cool through that same evaporative process, naturally air conditioning the living spaces. Historical texts describe summer banquets and gatherings made bearable, even pleasant, by this gentle, continuous cooling effect. The engineering behind this was profound, revealing an advanced grasp of hydrology and public health. They understood that moving water was key, preventing stagnation and the diseases it could bring, while simultaneously improving the civic environment. This was not a single-purpose infrastructure, it was a multifaceted tool for climate adaptation. The same channel that brought drinking water also cooled the air, washed the streets, and supplied the bath. It illustrates a powerful concept that the ancients saw their resources not in isolation, but as interconnected elements to be leveraged for holistic comfort. This elegant use of flowing water finds a direct parallel in another desert civilization, one that perfected the art of living with the wind. The careful manipulation of light itself became an architectural art form in the grand cities of the Byzantine and Ottoman empires. Walk through the narrow, winding streets of ancient Constantinople, where buildings were not just structures but sophisticated filters for the sun. Architects crafted a world of deep, cooling shadows and selectively channeled illumination, turning the harsh Mediterranean glare into a gentle, manageable glow. They achieved this through elaborate shading devices like the iconic mashrabiyya, those ornate wooden screens projecting from windows. A mashrabiyya was far more than a decorative element. Its intricate latticework was precisely calculated to block the direct rays of the sun while permitting diffused light and, crucially, cool breezes to filter through into the room behind it. This created a soft, dappled light that illuminated without heating, a natural and beautiful form of climate control. At a larger scale, buildings were crowned with deeply projecting eaves and shaded loggias that acted like permanent parasols for the walls below, preventing the sun from ever directly striking and heating the main structure. For the interior rooms, which were far from any external window, architects employed light wells and central atriums. These vertical shafts reached up to the sky, funneling daylight down into the heart of the home or palace. The genius of this design was its focus on illumination without the accompanying heat gain that would come from a large, standard window. The result was a cool, dim interior sanctuary, a refuge from the oppressive outdoor heat that felt serene and spiritually calm. How did they achieve such precision without modern solar modeling tools? Their process was one of deep empirical knowledge and iterative design, refined over generations. Builders observed how light and shadow traveled through the seasons, learning through trial and error the exact angles and patterns that would yield the perfect balance of light, air, and shade. The solutions they arrived at were not merely functional, they were breathtakingly elegant. The ever-changing patterns cast by a mashrabiyah screen transformed a simple sunbeam into a dynamic work of art, making the interior space feel alive and connected to the shifting day. This was environmental control woven seamlessly into the fabric of daily beauty, a testament to a culture that saw no division between practical comfort and profound aesthetic grace. Descending into an Indian stepwell feels like entering another world entirely. With each step down the intricate, symmetrical staircase, the frantic heat of the surface begins to dissolve, replaced by a profound and enveloping coolness. These were not merely water sources, they were masterpieces of passive cooling, engineered sanctuaries carved from the very earth. The temperature difference was no subtle shift. Historical accounts describe a drop of up to 10 degrees Celsius from the scorching top to the tranquil water reservoir at the bottom. This dramatic cooling was a result of two powerful forces working in concert. First, the immense thermal mass of the surrounding earth acted as a natural insulator, its deep, constant chill shielding the interior from the sun's blazing energy. Second, the vast, dark surface of the water itself performed a continuous act of evaporation, pulling heat from the air to fuel its transformation into vapor. But the genius of the stepwell extended far beyond this simple physics. The entire structure was designed as a social ecosystem. Along the descent, builders carved out shaded pavilions and arched galleries, positioned to capture any stray breeze and funnel it through the gathering spaces. Here, communities would congregate, travelers would rest, and rituals would unfold, all within a climate of natural comfort. Local lore and intricate inscriptions carved into the walls celebrate these places as oases of life, where the practical need for water seamlessly merged with the human need for connection and respite. The stepwell stands as a timeless lesson in holistic design, proving that the most effective solutions to environmental challenges can also be the most beautiful, weaving utility, community, and art into a single, cool, subterranean embrace. High upon the sun-baked mesas of the American Southwest, multi-story pueblos stood as resilient extensions of the earth itself. Crafted from adobe, a simple mixture of mud, straw, and water, these structures were a masterclass in thermal harmony. Their most crucial feature was their precise orientation, carefully angled to face the south. This strategic positioning allowed the low, weak rays of the winter sun to pour into the dwellings, providing essential warmth during the cold months. But when summer arrived with its brutal, high-angled sun, the same buildings were protected by deep, sheltering overhangs that cast long, cooling shadows across the walls. This was a brilliant, passive dance with the seasons, requiring no moving parts, only profound foresight. The ingenuity extended to the walls themselves. Some surfaces were built to be thick and dark-colored, functioning as what we now call tram walls. These massive thermal batteries would absorb the sun's heat all day long, slowly releasing it into the interior spaces throughout the chilly desert night, a system that predates modern passive solar design by centuries. For even greater stability, entire communities built their homes directly into cliffsides. Here, they leveraged the Earth's own remarkable capacity to maintain a constant temperature, using the solid rock as a natural insulator against both the scorching daytime heat and the freezing night air. Archaeological evidence reveals that these sophisticated designs were not conceived overnight. They were refined over countless generations through a patient process of trial and error, a slow accumulation of wisdom passed down through the ages. The Pueblo people's deep, spiritual connection to their landscape informed every decision, resulting in homes that were not just energy-efficient marvels, but also profoundly culturally significant, woven into the very fabric of their identity. This legacy of place-based design, where a building emerges from and belongs to its specific environment, offers a powerful blueprint for our own pursuit of sustainable architecture. It challenges us to ask not how we can overpower our climate, but how we can listen to it and build in respectful, intelligent response. Across the frigid North Sea, the Viking longhouse stood as a beacon of warmth against the endless winter. Step inside one of these great halls, and the first thing you would notice is the profound silence, a stark contrast to the howling wind outside. This quiet was a testament to the walls, built not just of timber, but of thick, living layers of turf and stone. These materials were more than just structure. They were a blanket, an ingenious insulation system that trapped the precious heat from the central, elongated hearth. The fire was the heart of the home, its flames casting dancing shadows on the faces gathered around, but its smoke presented a challenge. The solution was a clever vent in the roof, a smoke hole that could be adjusted with a baffle. This simple opening allowed the toxic fumes to escape while skillfully retaining the rising warm air, a delicate balance between fresh air and heat preservation that meant the difference between life and death during a deep freeze. The floor you stood on was also raised on a bed of gravel or wooden planks, a vital design that created a capillary break, stopping ground moisture from seeping up and chilling the living space. And for added comfort, the walls were often hung with heavy animal skins and woven tapestries, adding dense, flexible layers that blocked drafts and retained radiant heat. The Icelandic sagas are filled with descriptions of these halls, not as barren shelters, but as vibrant centers of feasting, storytelling, and community, where the warmth was as much social as it was physical. Every material was local and pragmatic, sod cut from the earth, timber from the forest, stone from the fields. There were no imported luxuries, only a deep, resourceful understanding of how to use what the land provided to create a sanctuary. In the face of a brutal climate, the Vikings did not just endure, they built a durable, warm comfort that sustained their culture for generations. This pragmatic genius, born from necessity, reveals a universal truth about our relationship with shelter. It is not about conquering the elements, but about creating a resilient pocket of warmth and community, no matter how fierce the world outside becomes. The soaring brick vaults of ancient Mesopotamia were more than just architectural triumphs. In the sweltering heartlands of Sumer and Babylon, these curved ceilings became a fundamental tool for survival. Builders discovered that by shaping mud bricks into graceful arches and domes, they could create a powerful natural ventilation system. The principle was as elegant as it was effective. As the sun heated the interior of a building, the warm air, which is lighter, would naturally rise, accumulating at the highest point of the vault. By leaving strategic openings at the very top, this trapped hot air was given a clear path to escape. This departure created a vacuum, a gentle suction that continuously drew cooler, denser air from openings near the floor level. This constant cycle, known today as the stack effect, flushed interiors with fresh air, banishing stuffiness and dust without a single fan. The material itself was a key partner in this process. The thick mud bricks possessed a high thermal mass, meaning they absorbed heat slowly throughout the day. This delayed the transfer of the sun's scorching energy to the indoor space, keeping rooms cooler for longer. By the time the bricks began to release their stored warmth, the evening would often be bringing cooler temperatures, creating a remarkably stable climate inside. How did these early urban planners codify such sophisticated knowledge? While not common, some cuneiform tablets have been found that reference architectural guidelines, offering instructions on a building's orientation to capture prevailing winds and principles for ensuring proper ventilation. This was not guesswork, it was a developed science passed down through generations of master builders. Their innovations in masonry and their intuitive grasp of spatial dynamics laid a crucial groundwork for countless architectural traditions that followed. It reveals a profound truth about these ancient cities, that even in the dawn of urban civilization, human habitats were already being thoughtfully engineered for enduring climate resilience. This seamless integration of architecture and nature finds a quiet, poetic expression in the traditional Japanese home. The Engawa is more than just a veranda. It is a transitional space that masterfully dissolves the hard line between the interior dwelling and the exterior garden. In the humid summer months, its sliding shoji screens are opened wide, inviting cooling breezes to sweep through the living spaces. The Engawa becomes a shaded, breezy corridor that effectively extends the home's living area, connecting inhabitants to the sights and sounds of the outdoors without the discomfort of direct sun. When winter arrives, the same screens are closed, transforming the Engawa into a crucial insulating buffer. This air gap between the fragile paper shoji and the solid inner walls traps a layer of still air, a natural barrier against the biting cold. The screens themselves are marvels of diffused light, their paper panels softening the harsh sunlight into a gentle, even glow that illuminates without the accompanying heat gain of clear glass. For personal warmth, families would gather around the Kotatsu. Imagine a low table with a heavy quilt draped over its frame and a heat source built into its base. Tucking your legs under the quilt, you would be enveloped in a pocket of radiant warmth, a cozy microclimate that made it unnecessary to heat the entire, often drafty, room. This principle of targeted comfort is profound. Why waste energy conditioning an entire volume of air when you only need to warm the immediate space around the human body? The entire home was designed with this seasonal flexibility in mind. Movable fusuma panels allowed rooms to be reconfigured, opened up for summer's cross-ventilation, or closed off to create smaller, easier-to-heat spaces in winter. This was a philosophy of sufficiency, where mindfulness and adaptability were woven into the very fabric of daily life. It challenges our modern assumption that comfort requires a uniformly controlled environment, suggesting instead that a dynamic, responsive relationship with our surroundings can be far more serene and sustainable. The thatched roof of a traditional African home is a masterclass in multi-layered design. Broad and steeply pitched, it does far more than just keep the rain out. Its generous overhang creates a deep, shaded veranda, an essential outdoor room protected from the direct sun, where daily life unfolds in cool comfort. The roof's true genius, however, lies in the thatch itself. Woven from locally harvested grasses or palm leaves, this dense, layered mat possesses remarkable natural insulating properties. It acts as a buffer against the sun's radiant heat, preventing it from penetrating the living space below during the day. Then, as the temperature plummets after dark, that same thatch helps to trap the milder indoor air, maintaining a stable warmth through the night. But the design often went a step further. In many traditions, builders intentionally left a small, strategic gap at the very top of the roof where the thatch met the wall. This was not an oversight, it was a deliberate vent. As the sun heated the interior, the warmest air would rise and escape through this opening, creating a gentle suction that continuously pulled cooler air in from lower openings. This self-regulating system of convection currents flushed the home with fresh air, banishing stuffiness without a single moving part. Can you sense the coolness of that continuously circulating air, a comfort engineered from grass and wind? This profound architectural wisdom was not written in manuals but sung in songs and demonstrated in the hands of elders, the knowledge of which grasses to use, how thick to layer them, and how to angle the roof for a specific village's wind patterns was a living library, passed orally from one generation to the next. The building process itself was a communal ritual, a collective effort that wove the very structure of the home with the unbreakable threads of social bonds. This stands as a powerful, holistic model where sustainable living emerges not from technology alone, but from a culture deeply rooted in ecological intelligence and shared responsibility. High in the Andes, the stones themselves seem to breathe with the mountain. The breathtaking Inca citadel of Machu Picchu is a masterpiece of stone, but its beauty is more than skin deep. Each perfectly fitted granite block was part of a sophisticated climate control system. The Incas built without mortar, shaping colossal stones to interlock with impossible precision. These tight seams did more than just withstand earthquakes. They sealed the interiors against the harsh alpine environment. The massive walls became giant thermal batteries, soaking up the intense daytime sun. Then, as the thin mountain air turned frigid after sunset, those same stones would radiate their stored warmth back into the rooms, creating a stable microclimate that protected inhabitants from extreme temperature swings. This was thermal mass engineering on a monumental scale. The entire city was laid out in a deliberate conversation with the sun. Agricultural terraces were carved into the slopes to face the sunlight, capturing every possible ray to warm the soil and extend the growing season in the cool highlands. A sophisticated network of drainage channels carved into the stone foundations swiftly carried rainwater away, preventing saturation and reducing the damp chill of humidity. This kept the city dry and comfortable even during the wet season. Some structures, like the semicircular Torreon Tower, reveal an even deeper understanding. Its carefully aligned windows and niches are thought to have tracked the sun's seasonal movements, serving both as an astronomical observatory and a solar calendar to guide planting and rituals. How did they achieve such exacting standards without iron tools or the wheel? The answer lies in generations of accumulated empirical knowledge. Master builders used simpler stone tools to patiently pound, grind, and polish each block, testing the fit over and over. This was not the work of a single genius but of a collective society, where communal labor turned a profound understanding of the natural world into a city that appears to be a natural extension of the mountain itself. Their legacy is a powerful lesson in durability, showing that the most resilient architecture is not imposed upon the landscape, but born from a deep and respectful dialogue with it. The labyrinthine souks of ancient Arabia were not just marketplaces, they were sanctuaries of coolness carved from the desert's heart. Step from the blinding, open square into a covered alleyway and the temperature would instantly drop. A canopy of vaulted stone ceilings arched overhead, casting the entire passage into deep, protective shade. This was the urban canyon effect in action, a brilliant strategy born from necessity. By constructing buildings so close together that their walls almost touched, ancient planners created a man-made gorge. The narrow alleyways saw direct sunlight for only a brief period each day, while the high, massive walls shaded each other, dramatically reducing the total surface area exposed to the sun's punishing rays. The very air you breathed was part of the design. Rising above the marketplace, wind towers or badgers stood like silent sentinels. They captured the slightest breeze from high above the crowded streets, funneling it down into the bustling heart of the Souk. This constant, gentle downdraft swept through the shaded alleys, flushing out stagnant air and carrying with it the scent of spices and the sound of commerce. The materials themselves were chosen for their cool demeanor. Builders favored pale coral stone and gleaming gypsum, substances with a naturally high albedo. These surfaces acted like mirrors to the sun, reflecting a significant portion of its radiant energy back into the sky instead of absorbing it as heat. The result was a network of streets that felt refreshingly cool underfoot and along the walls. Can you hear the vibrant hum of life in these spaces? Merchants and shoppers could linger, negotiate, and socialize for hours, their comfort engineered by the city itself. Historical travelers' logs are filled with awe at these thriving commercial hubs, where community life flourished in a climate that would otherwise force people indoors. This was urban planning as a form of social art, proving that a harsh environment could be shaped into a place of human connection and economic vitality. The sophisticated interplay of geometry, material science, and passive ventilation in these ancient cities offers a powerful blueprint for our own modern urban centers, which now grapple with the escalating challenge of heat islands. The wisdom of the shaded Souk whispers that the coolest future for our cities might be found by looking back at these ingenious designs. Stone walls cannot whisper, but in the quiet heart of a medieval monastery, they hummed with a gentle, engineered peace. These cloisters were masterpieces of microclimate design, where every element collaborated to craft a sanctuary of perfect serenity. The covered walkways with their rhythmic stone arches offered more than just a path for quiet contemplation. They created a protective arcade, casting deep, cooling shade in summer and serving as a sturdy windbreak against biting winter gusts. At the center of this enclosed world lay a grassy garth, a garden cultivated not just for beauty but for its cooling breath. Monks would plant aromatic herbs like lavender and rosemary, whose leaves released moisture into the air through a process called transpiration, naturally lowering the ambient temperature. The air itself was often laced with the soft murmur of a central fountain or the still presence of a cistern. This water performed a continuous, silent magic. As its surface met the dry air, evaporation would occur, pulling heat from the surroundings and leaving behind a tangible, refreshing coolness. All of this was contained within the embrace of immense stone walls, whose great thermal mass acted like a flywheel for temperature, absorbing excess heat by day and gently releasing stored warmth by night to maintain a remarkably stable climate all year long. This was not comfort for its own sake. Monastic chronicles reveal that the very layout of these complexes was intentional, with cloisters and chapter houses positioned to welcome the low, weak sun of winter for warmth, while their overhangs provided shade during the harsh summer months. Can you feel the profound stillness of such a space, where the air itself feels calm and reverent? The cloister wove together environmental wisdom, communal living, and spiritual pursuit into a single, seamless tapestry. It stands as a quiet testament to an age where climate control was not a mechanical function, but a sacred art designed to elevate the human spirit by harmonizing with the very air it breathed. While the Vikings warmed their halls with roaring fires, a different kind of heat was being perfected on the Korean peninsula, one that rose from the very ground beneath your feet. The Ondol system transformed the floor itself into a vast, warm embrace. Its design was a marvel of thermal efficiency, beginning with a firebox, typically the kitchen stove. Smoke and hot gases from the fire were not sent straight up a chimney. Instead, they were channeled through a network of flues, horizontal passages that snaked just beneath the stone floor of the living rooms. These flues were the heart of the system, carefully laid out in a serpentine pattern to maximize the surface area. As the hot air traveled this slow, winding path, its heat would transfer into the dense stone slabs above. The entire floor would become warm to the touch, radiating a gentle, even heat upward into the room. Only after giving up most of its thermal energy would the cooled smoke finally be allowed to escape through a distant chimney. This direct, radiant heating was profoundly efficient. It warmed the occupants themselves, not the entire volume of air in the room. Think of the difference between standing in a warm, sunlit spot versus a generally warm room. Ondol provided that targeted, solar-like warmth from below. This technology fundamentally shaped Korean domestic life, encouraging customs of sitting, eating, and sleeping directly on the floor. Historical records, including royal annals, frequently praise Ondol for its unparalleled comfort, but the benefits went beyond mere coziness. The continuous, dry heat was known to reduce dampness in the home, which helped prevent respiratory ailments and improved blood circulation, a health advantage celebrated for centuries. The system was not a static invention, but a living tradition refined over generations, with master masons perfecting the flue designs and floor materials to squeeze every bit of warmth from a single fire. Here was a heating solution so simple in its principle, yet so deeply integrated into the culture that it defined the very posture of daily living. Even in the heart of a scorching desert summer, you could have walked up to a yakchul and been handed a block of solid ice. These towering, beehive-shaped structures of ancient Persia were not just architectural wonders, they were functional ice houses defying the blistering heat through pure genius. The secret began with the dome itself, built from a special mortar called sarouj, a mixture of sand, clay, egg whites, lime, and goat hair that was remarkably resistant to heat transfer. This dome crowned a massive underground storage pit, often dug deep into the cool earth. The pit was lined with thick layers of straw and mud brick, creating a powerful insulation barrier that sealed the cold in and the heat out. But the yakchuls did not merely store cold, they actively manufactured it. During the frigid winter nights, laborers would channel water into shallow, shaded pools where it would freeze overnight. This ice was then harvested, transported to the yakchul, and packed inside the chamber in alternating layers with insulating straw. The system was then perfected by the wind catcher. A badger tower would capture the cool, dry night breezes and funnel them down into the base of the structure, continuously flushing the chamber with cold air while allowing the warmer air to rise and escape through vents at the very top. Some yakchuls were even supplied by caravans carrying ice down from nearby mountain peaks, a testament to the value placed on this precious resource. A clever trench system at the bottom of the storage pit would collect any meltwater and channel it away, preventing the remaining ice from sitting in water and melting faster. Can you fathom the social impact of such a technology? A yakchul was not a private luxury, but a communal resource maintained for the entire community, providing ice for preserving food, cooling drinks, and even making early forms of frozen desserts. This was a collective, sustainable approach to survival in an unforgiving climate. The magic of the yakchul lies in its elegant synthesis of so many passive principles, from underground earth cooling and evaporative cooling to sophisticated insulation and thermal mass. It stands as one of history's most striking paradoxes, a frozen sanctuary in a sea of sand, proving that human ingenuity can achieve what nature seems to forbid. The gentle splash of a courtyard fountain is the heartbeat of a Moroccan riad. This inward-focused home turns its back on the dusty, noisy streets, creating a private universe centered on cool tranquility. The entire design is a masterful response to a hot, arid climate and a culture that valued family seclusion. At its core lies the central courtyard, an open-air room that acts as the primary climate engine. As the sun warms this space, the hot air naturally rises and escapes, pulling cooler air from the surrounding shaded rooms in a continuous, gentle cycle of cross-ventilation. The fountain is not merely decorative, it is the system's humidifier and chiller. In the dry air, water constantly evaporating from its surface steals ambient heat, dropping the temperature in a tangible, refreshing wave. This cooled, moistened air is then drawn through the home, making every room feel like a sanctuary. The walls themselves are thick earthen barriers, their substantial thermal mass slowing the desert heat's journey inward to a crawl. Small, strategically placed windows high on the walls serve a dual purpose. They allow hot air to escape while preventing the sun's direct rays from entering and compromising privacy. Lush orange trees and jasmine plants fill the courtyard, their leaves releasing moisture into the air through transpiration, adding another subtle layer of natural cooling. Even the stunning beauty of the riad is functional. Elaborate zellige tilework and smooth, white plaster are not just artistry, they are a reflective shield. Their light-colored, often intricate surfaces bounce sunlight around the courtyard, illuminating the space with a soft, diffused glow while minimizing heat absorption. Can you feel the profound peace of such a place, where every sensory detail from the sound of water to the scent of blossoms is part of the architecture? The riad is a perfect symphony of aesthetic grace and environmental intelligence, a living space that cools the body and quiets the mind. Its enduring appeal, from ancient medinas to modern homes, proves that the most effective designs satisfy our deepest needs for both comfort and beauty, creating oases not just from the heat, but from the world itself. High in the thin air of the Himalayas, ancient builders faced a stark reality. Every ray of sun was a precious commodity. Their stone and wood homes became instruments for harvesting this vital energy, perfectly tuned to the sun's shifting dance across the seasons. The entire design pivoted on a single, critical orientation. The main facade and its generous windows faced directly south. This crucial alignment allowed the low, weak winter sun to stream deep into the living spaces, its angled rays penetrating to the very back of the room and bathing the dense stone floors and walls in warmth. Come summer, the sun would climb high into the sky, and here the architecture's second genius emerged: deep, structurally integral overhangs. These projecting eaves cast precise shadows over the same windows, effectively blocking the harsh, high-angle summer sun and keeping the interiors cool and comfortable. It was a perfect passive dance with the solar cycle, a built-in thermostat with no moving parts. The materials themselves were a lesson in local resilience. Massive stone walls, quarried from the very mountainside, provided immense thermal mass, slowly absorbing the sun's gift by day and releasing it steadily through the frigid nights. Thick timber beams and plank walls, sourced from hardy local conifers, added crucial insulation against the relentless cold winds that scoured the high passes. Even the flat roofs served multiple purposes. They were essential work surfaces for drying grains and vegetables under the intense sun, and they also became social terraces where communities gathered in the relative warmth of the afternoon. How did they achieve such precision without sophisticated tools? Their knowledge was written in the landscape itself, refined over generations through careful observation of light and shadow on the rugged terrain. Every choice was a response to scarcity, a testament to human ingenuity thriving where resources were few and the margin for error was slim. This harmonious alignment of built form with celestial rhythm did more than just provide warmth. It enabled a culture to flourish in one of the planet's most formidable environments, proving that true comfort begins with a deep and respectful conversation with the natural world. In the lush highlands of Bali, a different kind of temple shaped the very air people breathed. The island's Subak system, governed by networks of water temples, orchestrated an entire ecosystem where agriculture and climate control were one. For centuries, priests and farmers worked in concert, managing an intricate web of canals, tunnels, and weirs that distributed water from volcanic lakes to countless terraced rice paddies. These emerald green steppes were far more than a food source. They were a massive, living climate battery. The vast surface area of the flooded fields acted as a giant heat sink, absorbing immense amounts of solar radiation throughout the day. This process alone prevented the surrounding land from overheating, but the true cooling magic happened through transpiration. Each rice plant released moisture into the atmosphere, and across thousands of terraces, this created a pervasive, natural air conditioning effect. The resulting microclimate was noticeably cooler and more humid than the surrounding areas, a comfortable sanctuary crafted by design. Canals and ponds woven through the villages amplified this effect, their surfaces continuously contributing to evaporative cooling while also providing water for daily life. This was not an accidental benefit, it was the core of a philosophy known as Trihita Karana, a belief in maintaining harmony between the spiritual, the human, and the natural worlds. The water temple was the administrative and spiritual heart, where priests determined planting and harvest schedules based on a complex lunar calendar and religious observances. This ensured that water flowed equitably to every farm, from the highest terraces to the lowest, preventing conflict and fostering a profound sense of communal responsibility. The system did not just cool the air, it supported incredible biodiversity, creating habitats for fish, ducks, and insects that formed a resilient agricultural web. This holistic approach stands as a powerful counterpoint to modern, compartmentalized thinking. Here, spirituality, ecology, and social structure were inseparable from the practical goal of climate moderation. The Subak system, which continues to function today, proves that the most enduring and comfortable environments emerge not from dominating nature, but from a respectful, cooperative dialogue with its every element. Even the grandest stone walls in Egypt were punctuated by small, deliberate openings near the ceiling. These unassuming roof vents were the final, crucial piece in a perfect thermal cycle. As the relentless sun set and the desert air began to cool, these high vents were opened. The physics was beautifully straightforward. The hot air that had accumulated near the ceiling throughout the day, being lighter, would rush out through these upper openings. This exodus created a gentle suction, actively pulling the cooler night air in through lower windows and doorways. This process, known today as night flushing, was like hitting a reset button for the entire structure. It systematically purged the day's heat from the building's massive thermal mass, the thick walls and floors, cooling them down so they were ready to once again absorb the sun's energy the following morning. Evidence of this sophisticated air management is etched into history itself. Tomb paintings at Thebes depict homes with these telltale vents, and architectural remains in workers' villages show the practical integration of operable shutters designed for this exact purpose. This was not a random practice, it was a disciplined, diurnal rhythm for living. The entire community operated on this cycle, sealing their homes against the day's blaze and then actively cooling them under the starry night sky. Their comfort depended on a deep, generational understanding of natural cycles, turning the predictable swing between day and night into a powerful climate tool. Could our modern homes, so reliant on constant mechanical conditioning, learn from this ancient wisdom? The principle is astonishingly simple. By strategically opening and closing windows to align with the coolest part of the day, we can flush our own homes with fresh, cool air, significantly reducing our dependence on air conditioning. This ancient technique reveals a profound truth about passive design. It is not just about the materials and the shape of a building, but also about its operation. True harmony with the climate requires us to be active participants in a daily dance with the elements, using timing as our most powerful and sustainable tool. The hammam's dome is a sanctuary of steam, a space where heat and light perform a delicate dance. Small, star-like glass openings pierce the curved ceiling, permitting soft daylight to filter through while trapping the precious warmth below. This careful balance of illumination and insulation is the heart of its design. Beneath your feet, vast slabs of marble do more than provide a smooth surface. They act as a giant thermal battery. The stone slowly absorbs heat from the air and hot water, then radiates it back as a gentle, even warmth that penetrates deep into your muscles, easing tension away. This consistent, enveloping heat is no accident. Hidden under the floor, a network of clay pipes and channels works tirelessly, a direct descendant of the Roman Hypocaust. A central furnace sends hot air snaking through these subterranean passages, ensuring the marble floor is always pleasantly warm to the touch, a foundational heat that rises to fill the entire chamber. The journey through the hammam is a masterclass in thermal acclimatization. You begin in the warm room, allowing your body to adjust gradually. Then you move into the intensely hot steam room, where the heat opens pores and soothes the spirit. Finally, you progress to a cool room, a space of tranquil recovery where your body slowly returns to its normal state. This sequenced passage is a ritual of wellness, a physical and mental reset engineered by the architecture itself. These public baths were far more than places to get clean. They were vibrant social hubs where communities connected, conversations flowed, and relaxation was a shared ritual. The entire experience, from the radiant marble to the graduated temperatures, was meticulously crafted to promote holistic well-being. It stands as a powerful reminder that the most advanced environmental design does not just control temperature. It can be harnessed to heal, to connect, and to nurture the human spirit in its entirety. High on the walls of a traditional Chinese home, a small, fixed window known as a ding silently performed its duty. This unassuming opening was the crown of a brilliant ventilation system, working in perfect concert with its partner near the floor, the perforated dwarf wall. Together, they engineered a constant, gentle breeze through the power of convection. The principle was as elegant as it was effective. As the sun warmed the interior, the hottest air would naturally rise, accumulating at the ceiling. The ding, positioned high up, gave this buoyant air a clear escape route. Its exit created a subtle vacuum, a suction that actively drew cooler, denser air inward through the lower openings. These dwarf walls, often made of intricately carved brick or wood, acted as a filtered intake. They allowed air to enter at the very floor level where it was coolest, while simultaneously providing security and privacy for the residents inside. The result was a self-regulating cycle of air exchange that flushed rooms with freshness day and night, all without a single watt of power. Can you feel the quiet efficiency of such a system where the building itself breathes? This sophisticated understanding of airflow was often framed within the context of feng shui, the ancient art of placement. Historical manuals sometimes referred to these features as vital for cultivating smooth and healthy qi, or life energy, within a home. The uninterrupted movement of air prevented stagnation, creating an environment that felt both physically refreshing and spiritually vibrant. It is remarkable to consider how this nuanced attention to detail was woven into the fabric of everyday life, not as a luxury, but as a fundamental principle of good design. The humble ding and dwarf wall pose a compelling question for our own time. In an age of sealed buildings and mechanical systems, have we overlooked the profound comfort that comes from these subtle architectural gestures? This ancient approach proves that monumental comfort can arise from the smallest of openings, inviting us to reconsider every wall not as a barrier, but as a living, breathing surface. These ancient stone towers rise from the Sardinian landscape like silent giants. The Nyoraghi, built over 3,000 years ago during the Bronze Age, were masterclasses in thermal mass. Their colossal walls, assembled from vast blocks of local basalt or limestone without a speck of mortar, created a formidable buffer against the elements. Inside, the temperature remained remarkably stable, cool during the fierce Mediterranean summer and retaining gentle warmth through the damp winter. This stability was achieved through sheer mass, the dense stone slowly absorbing and releasing heat over long periods, smoothing out the sharp peaks and valleys of the outdoor climate. Their corbelled construction, where each successive layer of stone slightly overhangs the one below, created a domed interior that was both structurally sound and perfectly insulated. The builders were equally strategic with openings. Only a few small doorways and narrow window slits pierced the thick walls. This minimalist approach drastically reduced unwanted heat transfer, blocking the harsh summer sun while preventing precious internal warmth from escaping in the cold season. Yet these limited openings were precisely positioned to capture cross breezes, ensuring the interior never became stale or stuffy. Perched on hilltops, the Nyoraghi leveraged their elevation for more than just defense. The elevated sites caught the full force of the prevailing winds, which would sweep across the towers and help carry away excess heat. The panoramic views were a strategic bonus, but the primary advantage was climatic, a constant, natural ventilation system powered by the landscape itself. That these structures still stand today, enduring millennia of weathering, is a testament to their robust design. How did prehistoric builders achieve such longevity without mortar? The answer lies in a profound skill, the art of dry stone walling. Each stone was painstakingly selected and shaped to fit perfectly with its neighbors, transferring weight and stress down into the very earth. This was not a crude piling of rocks, but a sophisticated understanding of physics and local geology. They used what the land provided, creating landmarks that were intrinsically part of the place. The Nyorag stands as one of humanity's earliest and most powerful experiments in using pure form and mass to carve out a pocket of climatic stability from an unpredictable world. It inspires a deep curiosity about these prehistoric engineers who, long before written history, understood that true shelter is not just about keeping the weather out, but about creating a lasting harmony with it. High in the Peruvian Andes, the Wari people did not just build on the land, they sculpted it into a living, breathing climate machine. Their legacy is written across the mountainsides in vast, stone-ribbed terraces that cascade down the slopes like giant stairways. These were not merely fields, they were a profound engineering solution to one of the world's most challenging environments. Each terrace wall, carefully constructed from fitted stone, did more than just hold back the earth. It acted as a solar collector, absorbing the intense heat of the high-altitude sun all through the day. Then, as the temperature plummeted after sunset, these warm stones would radiate their stored heat back out, creating a protective thermal blanket that shielded tender potato and quinoa crops from the killing frost. This simple, brilliant use of thermal mass turned entire mountainsides into frost-resistant gardens. But the Wari's genius did not stop at the edge of the field. A sophisticated network of stone-lined canals traced its way down from glacial lakes and mountain springs. These channels were the arteries of the system, delivering life-giving water with precision. The water did more than irrigate as it flowed through the open canals in the dry mountain air. It continuously evaporated, cooling the immediate surroundings and adding a touch of vital humidity to the parched climate. Can you envision the transformation? A barren, erosion-prone slope was systematically redesigned into a stable, fertile, and temperature-regulated landscape. Archaeological excavations at sites like Cerro Ball reveal the staggering scale of this achievement. with terraces and canals supporting large, permanent settlements in places once thought uninhabitable. The Weri did not simply adapt to their harsh world, they actively re-engineered it. They understood that the land itself held the key to survival, and their most powerful tool was not a complex device, but the deliberate, intelligent reshaping of the earth to unlock its latent potential for comfort and abundance. This stands as a monumental lesson in proactive adaptation, proving that the most enduring forms of climate control are woven directly into the fabric of the landscape. From Persian wind catchers to Roman hypocausts, we have journeyed through a world where human creativity triumphed over environmental challenges without a single watt of power. These remarkable innovations, born in deserts, jungles, and mountains, share a powerful common thread. They were all rooted in a deep respect for natural forces and a profound commitment to working with them, not against them. This ancient wisdom teaches us a vital lesson for our own time. True sustainability is not about adding more complex technology, but about first understanding the fundamental principles that govern our world, principles like thermal mass, convection, and the sun's unwavering path across the sky. Our ancestors did not have our tools, but they possessed a masterful intuition for these forces. They saw a wall not just as a barrier, but as a battery. They saw the wind not as a nuisance, but as a delivery system for coolness. They understood their local climate as a partner in a continuous, dynamic dialogue. As we confront today's pressing climate and energy crises, these time-tested strategies offer more than just historical curiosity. They provide a deep well of inspiration for low-energy, high-comfort solutions. Imagine the energy we could save, the carbon we could avoid if our buildings were designed to breathe, to store heat, and to shade themselves as intelligently as a Pueblo or a riad. The path forward is not about abandoning modern knowledge, but about blending it with this enduring legacy of ingenuity. It is about building a more resilient and harmonious future by remembering the profound lessons from our past. If these stories of ancient cleverness resonated with you, we would love to hear which innovation amazed you the most. Was it the subterranean cool of the Yakchul or the radiant warmth of the underfloor? Share your favorite example in the comments below and subscribe to keep exploring the incredible ingenuity of humanity's past.